To the men, I bow to the God who lives within you as you. From everlasting to everlasting, thou art God. To the women, I bow to the God who lives within you as you. From everlasting to everlasting, thou art God. We acknowledge the presence of the masters, the grace of the Guru, and the guidance and blessings of Mahavatar Babaji toward the One, the perfection of love, harmony, and beauty, the only being united with all the illuminated souls who form the embodiment of the messenger, the spirit of guidance. And move on to Arati. With each waving of the light, we ask that the light within our own hearts be kindled. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya, Shiva. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya, Shiva. Sadhgurnath Maharaj Ki Jai. And we bow to the venerable feet of the ascended masters. So welcome everybody. It's good to see you. I'd like to go around and just express our intentions for our time together today. So whoever would like to start, maybe I'd like to begin. It's my intention to reap the most that I can from our connection today, from the connection of our hearts, from the way the light flows through each of us, that this heals me, touches me, uplifts me, and allows me to give and receive even more, to know that giving and receiving is really the same. That's my intention. Thank you.
My intention is to center myself in myself and spend this day coming from the place that is me, as opposed to the place that is trying to please or trying to do it right. My intention is to come from my inner light and center myself there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My intention is to be open, be myself, my true self, and communicate by both listening and speaking in my true voice.
That's beautiful. I join you both in your intentions. That was so moving. Thank you. Let's move into the attunement. As we just settle in with a stretch and a smile, breathing in through the nose and holding to the count of 7, and then exhaling through the mouth, releasing, relaxing, and letting go. And again, breathing in through the nose, holding to the count of 7, and exhaling through the mouth, releasing, relaxing, and letting go. As we release our old grounding cord and project a brand new one down to the heart of Gaia, the goddess of the planet. She graciously receives those cords. As we connect to her, feeling the love and the groundedness that she offers us. As her presence awakens the dilating of the healing channels within our own bodies. As all kinds of old material and newer material too begins to flow down to her healing space where she tends to that material. Healing it, blessing it, removing it, returning it, all of the many things that she has available to her. As we just relax and begin to let go of all the things that we've been holding on to. Feeling the shoulders relax as more material is able to be released. As we feel coming from source a beautiful cascade of white light flowing over us and through us, relaxing us, healing us, blessing us, facilitating the release of that material that's lodged within the body, within our consciousness. Feeling it washing over the brain with such love and compassion. Feeling the electrical energy from source, welcoming and embracing the energy from Gaia, the magnetic energy, allowing us to create the electromagnetic field that radiates from us. And breathe. Feeling a grounded simplicity, holding us, becoming us. Nowhere to go and nothing to do. Just this beingness. As we become aware of the space that surrounds us. It's been said that there is nowhere where God is not even a fraction of an inch. Becoming aware of the vastness of God. This vast love, power and glory, kindness and generosity. This vast field, this field of God. As we feel ourselves begin to just open a little to receive it, to realize that even as we make ourselves available to it, We too are all God. How remarkable. Allowing this presence to work its magic on us. Whatever that is. Feeling the vast field of the unknowable, and yet somehow love, the mystery of life, the mystery of eternity, the mystery of it all. Yet somehow all here for us too. Feeling the mysterious workings within our own hearts, within our own consciousness. As we allow ourselves to yield to a greater wisdom and love, to soothe us and heal us, comfort us, to feel totally seen, loved, and accepted. And breathe. And open. It's such greatness. Loves us so intimately, so personally. That we're given so much, cared for in such a remarkable way. As we give our thanks, our profound gratitude. And if we're so guided, ask for what our heart yearns for. Allowing the waves of loving consciousness to bathe our consciousness. As we spend the next few minutes in communion. slowly, gently come back. Does anybody have anything they'd like to share?
I came on late. I apologize for that. And it's good to see everyone. So I haven't seen in a while.
Good to see you.
Thank you. It's actually been a rough week for me. I don't know if it was the weather, the smoke. I could definitely smell the smoke last night and see it. But I was I was getting it earlier in the week when other people didn't seem to have any symptoms. And so I wasn't feeling that well and kind of coughing and just low energy. So it really makes you more grateful for health when you don't have it and then when you're restored. So I'm just kind of coming back and very grateful to be able to meditate with you this morning. Feeling, that everything is moving in divine order. Yeah, for a while I felt that I was like underwater and everything was up here and I was somewhere down here, but I feel like I'm coming back. So
I'm glad you came. I'm glad you came. It's wonderful to have you here, Bachi. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think what I was
Indira, did
doing.
you want to share something?
Whoop. There. You're muted, Radha.
I'm sorry. I got dropped, and so here. I am. Good to see you.
I was going to share though. When you talked about looking at our surroundings, I had a real feeling of gratitude because where I am, I'm kind of surrounded by nature, and I get to go for walks on the beach and enjoy the sounds as much as the sights on the beach with the seagulls and the waves. And my place backs up to a pretty heavily wooded area, and so at night when I let the dogs out for the last time at night, I usually get serenaded by the frogs and the crickets and the other creatures that are out in the woods. And then and had a visit a few weeks ago as the dogs were barking like crazy, so I went to the back door and looked out and had to look for a minute, but there was a gorgeous doe who was back at the tree line eating leaves off a tree, and she heard me, and as I went on the screen porch and actually out into the backyard, she heard me, and raised her head, and we, stared at each other for about a minute before she finally, turned and ran into the woods. I felt like we were communicating, basically. And then the last couple of days, putting in a new flower bed and transplanting plants, even though it was, pretty warm, and I was pretty tired, especially as, with, Thursday, with some of the smoke that was out there. I felt like I was communing with nature just by putting the plants in too, and working with the soil. So, like I said, I'm grateful for that experience, and it really grounds me. Thank you. Thank you for listening.
For sharing.
I'm getting ready for house guests who are coming. One of my oldest friends from girlhood and her husband are coming to visit for a weekend, couple days in the week. And I'm kind of feeling grateful. I was talking to my sister yesterday, and she said, I can't believe how many people you're still in touch with, over the years that you still know. And I thought, well, that is really something to be grateful for, because my girlfriend from Indiana, we don't really have much in common anymore. We didn't have similar experiences at all. But what is still there is an openness to understanding something that we don't understand. And I look at her and I think, oh, she's had a 50-year marriage, and she's happy, and they're still sweethearts, and he still calls her beautiful, and that she still sits right next to him and snuggles in, and it's like she had a life that was so different from mine. And I have so much to learn from her. And they are often saying to me how fascinating it is that I have different thoughts than they do. Excuse me. Because I've been exposed to so much more than they have. So, and it's, and we're learning from each other, and it's really wonderful. And I'm very grateful for that friendship, and I'm grateful for curiosity and openness to learn from each other. Yeah.
I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
Wow. What an
Yeah.
It really is amazing that you've stayed in touch with her all these years. Wow.
Yeah. We knew each other in summer camp. We didn't even go to school together. We used to write letters together. We used to write letters. I mean, she was 30 minutes away, but back then that was long distance, and so we wrote letters during the year, and then saw each other in summer camp every year. So.
Wow. Wow. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
One of the things that I as I was looking at what I wanted to talk about today, I was drawn to the parable of the Good Samaritan, and it's I'll read this translation. It's in one of the books of stories that Samyama was so fond of. So this is from the New International Version. On one occasion, an expert in the law stood up to test Jesus. Teacher, he asked, what must I do to inherit eternal life? What is written in the law? He replied. How do you read it? He answered, love the Lord God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength, and with all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. You've answered correctly, Jesus said, do this and you will live. But he wanted to justify himself, so he asked Jesus, and who is my neighbor? In reply, Jesus said, a man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho when he fell into the hands of robbers. They stripped him of his clothes, beat him, and went away, leaving him half dead. The priest happened to be going down the same road, and when he saw the man, he passed by on the other side. So too, a Levite, when he came to the place and saw him, passed by on the other side. But a Samaritan, as he traveled, came where the man was, and when he saw him, he took pity on him. He went to him and bandaged his wounds, pouring on oil and wine. When he put the man on his donkey, took him to an inn, and took care of him. The next day he took out 2 silver coins and gave them to the innkeeper. Look after him, he said, and when I return, I will reimburse you for any extra expenses you may have. Which of these 3 do you think was a neighbor to the man who fell into the hands of the robbers? The expert in law replied, the one who had mercy on him. Jesus said, go and do likewise. It's the as I was reading this story this time, there was something about the power of the sentence, love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength and with all your mind. And something of the immensity of that spaciousness in the attunement today spoke to of how much that combined with the teaching that God lives within us as us, that there's nowhere in the universe that God is not. It's impossible to be without him. I was struck in the attunement of how we are one. There is no place that he is not. And your beautiful sharings about the the love for your friends, the comfort of nature, the presence of God there, the Baji's sharing about health. I had the same kinds of experience where, looking for God in times like that. We are him, and yet how often do we think of him? How often I and especially in this particular lineage, there's been a focus on masters, but not as much on God himself. And especially God as the all that is. Even now, it's almost, I'm just in awe of the grandeur and the grace of the way that he behaves. That our focus on him is meaningful to him. That our remembrance of him deepens our connection to him, that matters. Just the vast mystery of it. It's like, and then in this passage, the next part, love your neighbor as yourself, and then go out and take care of them. Well, as someone with self-esteem issues, I wasn't so sure I wanted to love somebody else like I love myself. I thought they deserved better than the way I was loving myself. And the way that love is shared in this in this parable was so astounding to me. And one of the teachings that I've been working with for quite some time is this idea that we perceive our external world based on how we experience our internal world. And I was thinking about the ability to stop and care for someone. And I was wondering how well I tended my own inner wounded stranger. And how easy it is to rob these aspects of me of any dignity, of any acceptance or compassion. These places of me that I've exiled, and how painful that is, and how I need to be a good Samaritan to these aspects of myself so that I can be a good Samaritan in the truest sense of the word, in to whatever aspect the world presents to me, to care for, to tend to. You know, this week with so much political news, it's so easy for me to be judgmental and angry and upset at someone. And I thought, where is my own inner former president? Where is my own, you know, very wounded aspect that this is triggering? It's hard. It's hard to recognize that that lives in me too. That I can't just look at that being with immense compassion and righteous concern for bringing the law to bear on wrongdoing. You know, that are, you know, there's that too. It's not, but it was just such a, but to bring love, which is what I experience God to be, to all of this, and recognize where I'm not allowing it. It gives me pause on how best to be patient and kind with myself in the dealing with my own inner wounded stranger and the consciousness, and to not judge the consciousness that is aware of this as having had shortcomings for not seeing it earlier. So would anybody like to share anything?
This is very meaningful to me. And particularly I was struck when you said that God notices or cares when we pay attention and when we focus on God. That just warmed me all over. You know, one of the things I brought from my childhood was, and am working on, have worked on, and then continue to work on, is the idea that I'm important enough to bother God. And, you know, I think that's from, you know, that's from childhood, you know, don't bother your daddy. He's important. He's a minister. He's doing God's work he's doing. And so there was a part of me that grew up thinking, and also our religion, we didn't believe that prayers were heard by God unless they were prayers of repentance. If you were not living a perfect life, then only the prayers of, you know, so it's like, what's the point of praying anyway? So, so I've been working on that for many years and continue to. But when you said that, that really was meaningful to me. And it shows me that there's more growth there that's needed, because I was so reassured by that. And yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mm.
my I had an awareness when you were reading the parable, because it related so perfectly to the political fallout that's going on now. For me, the injured man was of a different faith than the passerbys who refused to help him. Yeah. And in fact, in their law, to touch him was a sin. And the Samaritan who stopped had a greater law that he was answering to than the law of the day, the governmental law. And so he did the righteous thing. And that reminds me that it's very easy for me to sink into my blame and my glee when somebody that I consider a wrongdoer has, been quote unquote caught. And I know that that is not the highest vibration for me to bring into the world. I know that what the world needs is what you were reading about. It's the absolute love, the love that is our true self, that does not make divisions among people. And that if I sink into any other way of being outside of that vibration of love, then I am contributing to the demise, really, of the wholeness of myself. I think that I agree. I too have issues of self-esteem that I'm still working on, who growing up in the human world of form and effect that we all have grown up in wouldn't have those issues. We have been groomed to be consumers and of information and commodities. I mean, that's what we've been groomed to do, and to judge ourselves against others and all of that stuff. And so that's where the attention tends to go. And I want to put my attention on my godly nature, on the real truth of who I am, my authentic self. So when you read passages like that, it brings me back in to my truth. And I sometimes think I'm not ready to enter into the world of effect. What can I bring other than more of the muck? I need to dwell longer in the territory of truth. Yet I know I can't stay in that I have to go into the world, but I just want to be my best self when I do go into the world. And it saddens me when I am aware of myself sinking into the low vibration it just seems sometimes such a struggle. I don't know if anybody else experiences that.
I was just thinking to myself, I want to say to her how much she is speaking my truth, how clarifying you are when you speak that truth, how you drag it up and spread it out and let us see it. And it's like, yes, that's what's there in me. And I just wanted to say how much I appreciated that.
Thank you. It's so elevating to be around light people, light beings.
Yes.
I thank you for illuminating my wattage, because as I said, I was down low this week. And then I don't want to take my joy from somebody else's demise, so this is what I've been thinking about that, and then I'll shut up. This political piece. I will celebrate the working of the divine law. The divine law gives back to us what we have put forth. And it's always just. And it takes time. It's not quick always. So that's what I celebrate, the working of the law. And I continue to work on myself.
Had a phone conversation this past week with a very old friend, and we're two sides of the political spectrum for sure, and that came up during the conversation, and I felt myself getting angry, and disappointed in him for having the views that he had, and then I realized that, like you guys are talking about, that's pretty base instinct, pretty low vibration, and so I basically pointed out my opinion that what we need more of is more love and understanding, across the board, and he agreed with that, and our conversation changed significantly because that's what we agreed on. I was very impressed with President Biden's comments on the debt ceiling process, and he basically said nobody got everything they wanted, or neither side got everything they wanted, but the American people won. And that's the important thing. That is the important thing. And, I think what I'm going to try to do is look toward that end, because it's a little bit brighter than looking at the day-to-day political machinations and the crap spewing out of sometimes both sides. But it's better to look toward the end game. So anyway, that's my 2 cents worth.
Thank you. Thank you to all of you. One of the teachings that I turned to a lot as a young mother, and I still use it a lot, is that we need love the most when we deserve it the least, and that however that love shows up either as compassion for myself for not being able to get out of my own way, or to know that that's a truth, and to do whatever I can do in that vibration, wherever it can land. That's got to make a contribution to raising the vibration for everyone. I like to close today with gratitude, for what to go around and just share whatever it is that we're grateful for. I've been so grateful for this time together today with all of you. I felt this time has helped me come back to something important to me. I feel better for having been in your company. I'm grateful to God's incredible gifts as they shine through you and through so many other places too. I feel better able to go on because of our time together. So that's what I'm thankful for right now. Thank you.
I too feel grateful for this time. This has been deeply meaningful, and I don't want to compare it to say it's more meaningful than usual, but it just does seem very alive for me today. This message, this meditation, and this discussion, it's very alive for me today, and I'm grateful for the reminder that that God is everywhere, that God is in the former president, that God is in compassion. Yeah, I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for that reminder. And I'm grateful for the mirroring I see in others. And I feel it's almost like it helps to explain me to myself, because sometimes there's something in me that just says, oh, don't talk about that. Without even being conscious that I'm thinking that, I think there's a part of me that does that. And when Baji, for instance, starts to talk about all this stuff, and I'm like, well, yeah, that's just exactly what's going on in me. I don't have to pretend to not struggle with those things. And so I'm grateful for that new clarity. Yeah. So thank you.
I'm so grateful for each one of you. And I'm so grateful for this meditation opportunity. It was just what my soul needed this morning. And I'm grateful for nature that always sustains me. The air always clears. The water is there. The animals. This is such a beautiful planet. And I'm so grateful to be on it at this time. And I know that I'm a good person. And I know that each one of you is a good, divine representative of God. Magnificently presented, beautifully presented, each one of you. and that we're all one. I'm so grateful for knowing that. Thank you. Mm.
As I mentioned at the start, you know, was feeling grateful for nature, and I realized what, you know, during the meditation and during our conversation, that nature's that representation of God, that I'm grateful for. I'm very grateful, you know, to be in the presence of so many beautiful people, and it's I'm grateful for basically feeling that, you know, we're all experiencing the same thing, and you know, that makes me feel more included, and you know, and so I'm grateful for that. These monthly meetings all mean so much to me, and they help me an awful lot, and I appreciate it, and appreciate all of you. So I'm grateful for you, for each and every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you. I feel the bond among our hearts. You know, just the natural, I don't know, flow of love. So thank you, each one of you. May this, oh, it's beyond words how much I love you guys and what this all means to me. I'm so glad it means something to you too. May this upcoming month bring you great love and joy, health and well-being. May you know that you're so deeply loved, seen, and appreciated. I'm so grateful for you. Sadhguru Nath Maharaj Ki Jai. See you next time. I love you.
Love you. Love you all.
Go
Bye-bye.
get a big glass of water.